Here's my take. Midjourney received a whole bunch of attention. Adobe hasn't really delivered anything truly groundbreaking in the last few years. I photoshopped out some guy and turned him into a parrot.
Wow, flippers and all.
A lot of filtering and censorship within their prompt language. Adobe is not the first in this market. I can come in and fine-tune an image, which is very difficult to do in Midjourney natively. AI technologies are not ready for prime time just yet. Midjourney versus Adobe's new technology called Adobe Firefly. The results were pretty surprising. Adobe's doing their best to align with creatives and be on the side of creatives as they should be, but their text-to-image function is so far behind Midjourney that it's unusable as of right now. I think I know the reason why. But before we get to that, these are the same exact prompts, filled with errors, certain terms that might be flagged. So that was pretty frustrating. The third example, using the current trend of, for some reason, Harry Potter in a Wes Anderson movie resulted in a couple of flags, it seemed like, where they were stripping words out of the prompt, likely due to intellectual property reasons. Now the critical part. These were done to the best of my ability with the exact same prompts, but Adobe has a lot of filtering and censorship within their prompt language, so it wasn't exact. Adobe is not the first in this market, and it's because they're trying to ethically handle the use of AI image generation. I'm curious on how long it'll take Adobe to catch up to what Midjourney is doing, especially if they're only referencing their own library and publicly available images. I hope it won't be that long because it's really not close right now. I'm not trying to bash on Adobe, I'm just saying that they are going about things ethically and they're moving slower than their competition. I'm not sure exactly how that AI technology works. There's censorship and there's agendas that are related to intellectual property law that honestly could be broken prior to AI. Right now, the user experience in Midjourney is superior. It's not as intuitive, but the results are just better. So Adobe has some work to do. Subscribe if you're interested in how the AI tools are actually useful to creatives. Here's my take. Midjourney received a whole bunch of attention and Adobe is now playing catch up. With all this talk about Adobe Firefly and Midjourney, I have to throw my 2 cents in for the creative folks out there. You're still going to need to come up with the specific prompts. Generative fill works quite a bit different than Midjourney, and you're changing parts of the image versus the full image. By using a combination of Midjourney and Photoshop, I think I found the best results. The size of images coming out of Midjourney are pretty limited, and maybe that will change over time. Adobe Generative Fill has the advantage where you can take a really high-res image and use AI to augment it. Adobe Firefly is what they call their AI technology that's going to get woven into functionality within Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator and more of the Adobe Creative Cloud suite of products. One really great thing that Adobe is starting to introduce is categories and drop-downs that are more traditional UI components, and Midjourney is 100% text-based prompting. You don't have the functionality of filter elements, and Adobe has indicated that they are going to go that route. That's a great step forward in terms of making this feature more user-friendly, and I think that's generally good. There's a huge asterisk on their marketing site right now that says that AI-generated images are not eligible for use commercially. Who knows how that will change after the beta, but they say that it will. I've heard rumors that Adobe is going to use a proprietary technology to tag AI-generated images, and that raises a lot of questions for me.
You wouldn't arrest a guy who's just delivering drugs from one guy to another.
What is the difference between generating an image with Photoshop and creating an image and augmenting it with generative fill versus taking a traditional photograph and photoshopping elements into or out of that photo? Where's the line of what is considered AI? Because in some cases, it just seems like Firefly is replicating technology and functionality that's already in the Adobe Photoshop suite. I'm really intrigued to see how it evolves, but I don't know how much I want Adobe to be involved. There's a little bit of a conflict of interest here with their business practices and setting the precedent for how we're going to use AI morally and ethically. Let's face it, Adobe has been the leader in design software for my entire career and longer than that. They hold the industry reins and have the power to shape this conversation, because of their size. Adobe's really positioning themselves as allies for creatives, as they should. They establish rules and ethics around generative AI that may become best practices. I support it for now, but I'm weary of it going too far. There is a lot of prompt censorship already happening. I couldn't use the term white smoke for some reason when I was testing. And that's a problem, because who sets that line and why? Products like Midjourney are referencing images, and that's a big discussion, because if you're using reference images that aren't yours, then where is the copyright infringement line? As far as I know, the copyright law is that you need to change an image at least 30%. That law is broken, but Adobe has a conflict of interest and they might not be better. Generative AI at Adobe will pull images from stock photography that Adobe owns and has licensed. They will also use copyright-free images. The idea that Midjourney pulls images from around the web has drawn a lot of discussion around the ethics of using AI and the copyright concerns, as I mentioned. And as a creative, I have to support what Adobe is doing. Adobe won't be mining their Creative Cloud subscribers. Adobe has even discussed paying creators for contributing to their library. Midjourney's image creation is objectively better. Time will tell how this plays out, but I'm interested and appreciate the current efforts. Let's talk about the Content Authenticity Initiative. This is something that Adobe has introduced. They're aiming to set the industry standard, and this is where they're talking about tagging AI images. Why will some images be tagged AI when others won't? If I'm able to execute the same type of image with or without AI, this leads to confusion for me. The Coalition for Content Provenance and Authenticity is another organization. I don't know what technology. Are they going to be scanning the work that I do? It feels like it's on the edge of overstepping. With all of the fancy marketing that Adobe has done recently, I think it's important to mention that AI technologies are not ready for prime time just yet. Beyond all of the legal and ethical concerns that are there, the technology is just not that good yet. Can you accomplish some things very well and faster than previous methods? Yes, absolutely. I photoshopped out some guy and turned him into a parrot for no reason really, but it was really easy to do that, and that was cool. Other times I've just wasted time trying to do something that I could do without AI, but I was intentionally trying to use AI to see what the delta between those two experiments is. I've used Photoshop for years, so I'm pretty comfortable in it. I was able to do certain things faster with my traditional methods than I was with the AI tools that are new. And better, by the way. Here's my take. Midjourney received a whole bunch of attention, and Adobe is now playing catch-up. They're the industry leader, and so far, the applications that they've showcased seem to be limited, but it's really impressive nonetheless. This is in beta. There are high-quality and higher resolution images that you can play with. There's a lot of steps forward in the right direction. Adobe allows you to change specific parts of an image. Whether or not that's generated from another software, I can come in and fine-tune an image, which is very difficult to do in Midjourney natively. As for Adobe Firefly and the text-to-image features, it's a little shaky compared to Midjourney, as I mentioned, but it's getting better. The field is moving at lightning speed. Progress is being made. Adobe hasn't really delivered anything truly groundbreaking in the last few years, and this does fall in that category. So it's exciting to see. Maybe they were pushed by Midjourney and DALL-E and OpenAI coming out with all these fresh technologies, but who cares? It doesn't matter. The tools are getting better for creatives, and it's improving the human's ability to create something from their mind and bring it into reality, which I always support. It's a tool that belongs in your toolbox of how to get from A to Z. We probably have to adjust and accept it as a reality. Our understanding of image, layout, typography, art history has become more valuable than ever, because even though you can go from nothing to something, you're gonna need a creative to execute your vision, and our jobs are not really at risk. That wraps up the discussion for now. My name is Nick, and this is Design is Blank. If you have any questions or thoughts, throw them in the comments. Thanks for listening. Bye.